tools and products that are used. And we are going to explain them one by one. Let's go. Okay, they have not explained. So let's go back. Let's explain them. Now, monetary policy rate. What it says is that for stability in the financial system and for us to intervene in the system, we establish a percentage with which we lend to banks. And from that percentage, banks now take their cue to lend to you businesses. I think you understand me. And when we arrive at that rate that we will say we are going to lend to banks, we take so many things into consideration. We take the inflation level. We take the need to enhance economic growth. And we also take the particular requirements of the economy at the given time. What is the monetary policy rate now? The rate central bank lends to banks. Huh? Thank you very much, sir. Are you from the banking system? Huh? Huh? You are? Yeah, okay. So he knows how much we lend to them. And they take you from there. And don't forget they add the administrative and operational cost to arrive at how much they will lend to you. Then open market operations. Has anybody bought treasury bills here? Huh? Nobody has bought treasury bills here. That's one of the tools we use. When our central bank now comes and say, okay, I want to give you a paper. That paper will signify that I owe you money, but I'm going to pay you interest. 90 days, 180 days, 1 year. And that interest will lower you to give us your money. And when we take that money, it's because we want to take the money out of circulation so we don't use it. So that when money becomes scarce, there will be less pressure on commodities. So inflation will go down. That's what we use. We use treasury bills. Government uses bonds, to borrow from the populace. Standing facilities, this one is for the banks. You see, what we do is that we make sure that it's a rule. No bank should sleep with a debit. Banks can give you loan and your account can show debit in their books. But in central bank books, no bank is allowed to sleep with a debit. The simple reason being that banks are interdependent on each other. Once one bank sleeps on a debit, it means it is owing another bank money somewhere. And maybe that bank needs that money to settle another obligation. So if it can't get it can't settle that obligation. And before you know it, you will have domino effect. So no bank is allowed to be in debit. So what central bank does is it has a standing facility where banks can borrow money overnight. Amisu? Isn't it? Am I saying how it is? These are the people who do it. If you have questions, they will answer you. It's their department. So in this way, also, we take away the bank balances. And once we take away their balances, they don't have enough credit to also give you. So they can't create money into the economy. Then the cash reserve requirement. This one too is very important. Each bank, there's a percentage that they must keep in cash. And they should not touch it. There's a percentage. Once they want to go below the percentage, they have to sell whatever they have to make it good. Net open position is the same thing as the standing facility, because the standing facility will give the net open position of banks. If you go above on the net open position, there is what central bank does to bring you to the level. If, for instance, we say your holdings of cash or foreign cash should not be more than 1%. of your total cash holding. So once you open with 5%, then you have to dispose the additional 4% to make your net open position according to the requirements. Then liquidity ratio. Liquidity ratio and cash reserve requirement are related, but they are different. Cash reserve requirement includes near cash items. Anything that you can change to cash. You know you have near cash item. Can you give me an example of a traditional near cash item that women keep? Thank you. Madam, I'm sure you have gold in your house. You know, it's near cash, and women are so clever. You go and buy a big house. Today, tomorrow you need money. It will take you 3 months to sell the house. And devalue it. So you come back to your wife and start begging her. She will not go to the central market. They will just put the gold on, okay, it's 10 grams. Per gram is 20,000. So madam, 10 times 20, take your money. That's all. So that's what we mean by cash reserve. It's cash and near money. While this liquidity is the cash itself. You can say cash reserve requirement 40%, liquidity 15%. So what it means is that out of that 40%, 15% must be in cash. Discount window operations. Yes. What we do is that before an instrument matures, we can call it back. If I give you a treasury bills for 90 days or for 1 year, and for whatever reason we want to call it back, we will discount it. What it means by the discounting is that if I give you, for instance now, I give you 1 million, or you give me 1 million on loan, and I'm supposed to pay you your 1 million after 1 year with interest of 10%. So I will pay you 100,000, and we agree I will pay you upfront. So once I collect your 1 million, I will give you 100,000 back. I have 900,000. Then for whatever reason in June, you come and tell me, oh boy, I need money. I can't afford to wait until December. Will I give you back 900,000? Huh? So what will I give you? Thank you. I have to discount it and give you proportionate, because there are some months you have not earned. So even though I have already given you your interest up front, when I come to give you, I will not give you back 900,000. I may now give you 700 or 650,000. If you ask me why, I will say, but you have earned an interest. So that interest you have earned, I will have to remove part of it. So that's what they mean by discount window. Then intervention in the market. Central bank can come and say, okay, there is too much money in circulation. Let's sell more dollars. For instance, we call banks and say, okay, in addition to the weekly sales we do to you, today we are ready to sell more dollars. That's why when you read the papers, you hear Central Bank has sold more dollars to businesses, Central Bank has sold more dollars to deposit money banks. So these are some of the things we do. Let's go in. Let's go forward. So this one explains what we have been talking about and the monetary policy actions. You can see MPR retained 13%. Symmetric corridor, okay, all those ones, you don't need to know that. Let's go. And these are the decisions. The NPR meets every quarter. The Monetary Policy Committee. It comprises of central bank governors. It comprises of economists and academicians. And the interesting thing about them here is that each one is allowed to take its independent decision. Then at the end of the day, you take the majority decision and use that as the basis. Each member will analyze the economy by himself and bring his paper. Then together they will discuss all these observations and then take a decision. And they look at two major things. One, implications in the international economy, because Nigeria is not isolated. For instance, they will look at what is the future of oil, sale of crude oil. What is happening in the international financial system? Are we getting more foreign investments or less? What is the investment climate? Then we also look at the local scene, and then we take a decision. So you can see NPR 14%, CRR 22.5%, liquidity ratio 30%, asymmetric corridor plus 2 minus 5. I hope we are clear. Eh? Is there anything you don't understand on this page? Because it's very important. Okay, let's go forward. Let's go. Okay, so now this is just what CBN does, either to meet its main mandate or to do the developmental functions. You can see all the programs we have rolled out: Youth Entrepreneurship Program, Entrepreneurship Development Center, Electricity Market Stabilization, Power and Aviation, because CBN is interested in the real economy. We are already in the financial economy, but we know that, you know, Danjuma and Danjumai, they relate to each other. If the real economy is not healthy, the financial economy will not be healthy. If the financial economy is not healthy, the real economy will not be healthy. So we intervene in the real economy, like the power and sector intervention, the power and aviation intervention, the Anchor Borrowers Program, the micro, small and medium enterprises, the CAT scheme, you know, the textile sector intervention, all those things. That's the summary of what we do. Let's go on. Okay, so what have we done? Okay, institutional reforms, upward adjustment, interest rates. Let's go. Okay, so what do we expect from you as Nigerians? First and foremost, manage your test. Do you know that? Do you know that there are some people who are asking what is happening? Because Nigerians are no longer spending the way they used to spend. In 2013, Heathrow Airport in UK, when they did their analysis as of December, they found out that Nigerians were the #1 spenders in the in the duty-free shops in Heathrow. Nigerians were the #1. If you go to Dubai, okay, right now what is happening is that some of these Indians are even coming to Nigeria to find out what is going on. Honestly. Because people are no longer going there to buy the things they used to buy. People have been forced to curtail their tastes. You know? Because it is too prohibitive, it's too expensive. The money is not there and the dollar is expensive. Like one professor said, that for the first time in Nigeria, in 2016, Nigerians had a Nigerian Christmas. And what he meant was that 80% of the rice consumed that Christmas was local rice. That's what he meant. So for the first time we had Nigerian Christmas and we had Nigerian Salah, isn't it? So that is what we expect. We have to diversify. Well, this population control, you know, may have different. and the experts here will respond to your issues. And you will get to know more about my director. Mr. Chairman, I'm proud to be working with you, sir. When I grow up, I want to be like you. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if we look to our left, there's a tea room there. You can just walk down there. We talk and snacks. We quickly finish in and for the rest of the program. Thank you very much.
Trade and Exchange Department, CP, Abuja.
My name is Ahmed Bello Umar, Branch Controller Bauchi.
I am Zachariah Marcos from Banking Supervision Department, CBN Abuja.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Tijani Zachariah, Branch Controller, Duse, Central Bank.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Adam Amata, Kano. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Musa Khalid Mohammed from Kano State, Amata.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Honorable Kabir Salisu Dala, Financial Secretary Muhammad Abubakar Musabangari Market, Amata, Kano State.
Sunana Dalati Ibrahim ni daga Federal America Center, Katsina.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is A.A. Mustafa from Federal Medical Center, Katsina.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Alai Sani Sayidu Dankoli, Chairman Tricycle Operators Association, Kano.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Muhammad Amini Dauda, Secretary Tricycle, Kano.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rayani Yusuf, Vice Chairman Tokan, Kano.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Maharazu Adamu from FCE Katsina.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Isa Abubakar Sadiq from FCE Katsina.
My name is Bahari Ibrahim Keita, Secretary Abson FCE Katsina.
Femi Adeyema by name, from Aheri Clinic, Katsina.
Mrs. Bosse Amino, Maliri Clinic, Katsina.
My name is Maimuna Ibrahim from Federal College of Education, Katsina, Treasurer.
Okay, Farooq Abdullahi, Diapo Sokoto Branch.
Muhammad Abubakar Matazu, Head of National Office in Katsina.
Babagana Mustafa, National Office, Kano.
I'm Abubakar Machi, IFAD CASP, Katsina. I'm Elijah Fashawe, IFAD CASP, Katsina.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Murtala Yusuf, Chairman Al-Kalam University Cooperative Society.
My name is Salman Mamman, Association Professional Staff of Nigeria, Katsina branch.
My name is Ibrahim Ragu from FCE Katsina.
My name is Kabir Hamza from National Office Katsina.
My name is Musa Hamad Tukur from National Office Katsina.
Ibrahim Tanimu, National Office Katsina.
Abdurrahman Musa, National Office Katsina.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ibrahim Adamu. I'm in Sokoto.
Assalamu alaikum. Mansur Abakar Jibril, Anpin, Sokoto.
Assalamu alaikum. Ibrahim Sani Kanke is my name from State Fire Service Headquarters, Katsina.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Alhaji Lawal Haruna Saulawa, Deputy Chief Fire Officer, Katsina State Fire Service.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Baba M. Mahmoud, K. Dara Specialist Clinic Secretary.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Sadiq A. Gassi, K. Dara Specialist.
Assalamu alaikum. Murtala Yunusa from Mamata Kano.
Assalamu alaikum. Abdulaziz Zakari, Amata Kano.
Assalamu alaikum. Sufyan Abdullahi, Amata Kano.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Samir Sani Bichi from FMC Katsina.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Said M. Yakubu from Amata Kano.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Umar Ibrahim from Kano.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Traditionally, we usually invite some of our invitees to the high table to sit with our very important the chairman and others. So I will now use this opportunity, Mr. Chairman, to invite the Deputy Fire Officer, Nigerian Fire Service, to please proceed to the high table. And while doing the introduction, I have noticed that we have various heads of associations like ASU, NASU, and so on. So I don't know if there's a zonal chairman. We can't have all of them. If there's a zonal chairman, you can kindly proceed to the high table too.
I think we should also recognize and honor the gentleman who came all the way from Kano, the Amata group. Maybe is the chairman there with you? Huh? Okay, okay, you represent the Amata. Okay, that's good. If you look at the program, you will see that we have interactive section. What we do during that session is to allow our invitees and customers to air their issues. If they have any question or any they want to know any clarification, they want to have clarification on any issue pertaining the services Central Bank of Nigeria provides, can do so. So we usually take 5 questions In order not to lose track, we will respond to those questions. We have subject matter experts that can answer any question and do that clearly. So we will now go ahead and take the first 5 questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we'll take the first 5. Then after responding, we'll go to another set of 5 questions. Thank you.
My name is Yakubu, Assistant Secretary, Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Polytechnics, Hassan Osman Qatar Polytechnic Chapter. Allow me to stand on the existing protocol, please. My question is this: having known the already existing contemporary corporate social responsibility which the CBN is supposed to give out to tertiary institutions, I would like at this point to say what is this branch of CBN having in mind to do to my Hassan Usman Qatar Polytechnic. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Ibrahim Adamu, the State Chairman, Association of Non-Bank Microfinance Institution of Nigeria, AMFIN. First of all, I would like to commend the Central Bank for organizing this kind of fora so that we can rub mind and put the way forward. First of all, now CBN shows that they are closer to the people, not like before, that maybe it's only when they are changing the denomination and other issues, but now they come with a lot of policies and they try as much as possible to see that also the customers and other stakeholders are in the picture of their policies. This is a commendable. And also the sensitization program, which they publish a lot of publication in building our capacity and pamphlet on any other issue that come up to make sure that it go around so that people can be in the picture. And another thing is also the issue of small scale and medium enterprises, the 140 billion program, which we at the ethics body of MFI are asked to organize our MFI at the local level so that they can become organized in a way that they can access funds and loan. And we have done that. We have been inviting the CBN branch in our state to come and partake with us so that they can sensitize our people. And we make sure that over 2,000 groups, before that they don't have account, now they have account and they have file, they can organize. Also, we forward the application, but later they send back that these are some of the issues need to be put forward. I mean, some of the requisite that you need to fulfill before you can acquire the loan. We've done that, but no response to date. And up to today, no single MFI is able to access the loan. And that makes us to look like as if it's 419, because if a CBN can be changing policies and become inconsistent with their policies, because the policy of the particular program we're talking about was changed almost 6 times. So we need to look into this. And at the same time also, the if really the CBN want to boost the microeconomy, they need to do a lot in this angle. And finally, we are served with invitation to come to Katsina for a zonal meeting. But in that invitation, there is nowhere mentioning, because we are used to developmental partners that at least if you can there are programs that we can go and pay and attend to acquire knowledge. But at the same time, we expect at least courtesy demand, even if maybe they can state it, okay, your organization is to be responsible for your accommodation, feeding, and maybe your transport. So next time, please, there is need for, because if you can spend a 4 to 5 hours journey from Sokro to Katsina, that is it for. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. My name is Dr. Bay, and I represent Goruba Initiative Katsina. One of the things I expected to have in this session, the issue of lower denominator in circulation. We all know that it's indeed a problem, especially in Katsina, when you're looking for 500 change. It's disgusting, really disgusting. What the change is to lower denomination in circulation. Number two, the rate that the CBN is charging the commercial banks and what the commercial banks are charging the customers. The 14%, I don't know how, or whether it can be reduced lower so that the commercial banks can, reduce the charges to their customers. Because the commercial banks are charging a lot, and I understand that every bank charges the rate, interest rate. I'm talking of interest rate. What is the CBN doing about that? Thank you very much.
I stand on the existing protocol. Let me start by making an observation. I'm sorry, I might sound dissident, but the organizers of this program will have apologized for me for doing African time. Because according to the schedules here, we're supposed to start this program, I think is it 9? Yes, but we have been waiting here. Some of us have classes to attend. So this is an observation. In the case, next time, please. Secondly, I would just like to ask questions with regards to what the last speaker have said. I mean, about, he made one statement which will make a layman like me to believe maybe oil sector is not contributing, is not making the highest contribution to the revenue being generated by Nigerian government. Something like that. I don't know. I need a little clarification about it. I hope you get what I'm saying. Then secondly, about this exchange rate. It's like dollar is just like a commodity. Something you can go and buy. So I don't know. I need more explanation because my understanding is that I know American dollar is being printed in Federal Reserve Bank in America by some, I can say by some group of people. So since it is people that is printing it, there might be some one or two things to manipulate things to make things hard. Order. I hope the speaker understand what I'm trying to say. Watch.
The last one.
Good afternoon all. My name is Abubakar Mati. I'm from IFAD Climate Change Adaptation and Agribusiness Support Program. We are supposed to have been here maybe day before yesterday or yesterday on this exercise. But maybe there is a mix-up in the invitation somewhere around. Mine goes to the banking and payment system department. And it's all about the issue of dollar accounts. We maintain a dollar, our organization maintain a dollar account with Central Bank of Nigeria, that's at the corporate headquarters. But any payment we want to undertake, we always have to go to Abuja. I want to suggest if you would kindly decentralize this transaction so that it will make ease for each MDAs or any parastatal that maintain account with you in Abuja. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you have any question, you can just jot it down. We'll call back for the questions after the responses. Mr. Chairman, sir, I think we are ready.
Okay, thank you very much for those interesting questions and observations. Now, let me start with the gentleman from Hassan Usman Katsina Polytechnic, who wants to know when will our intervention touch Hassan Usman Katsina Polytechnic. Now, let me briefly explain our intervention programs. Our intervention programs, number one, are centralized. They are not done by the branches. What the branches do is corporate social responsibility in their locality. It is the staff that contribute money. When they contribute money up to a certain amount, they target the less privileged, maybe orphanages, maybe hospitals, and the rest, and do some aid as part of their corporate social responsibility. But the CBN corporate social responsibility itself is in the head office, and CBN comes into the picture where there are disasters, where there are issues that demand immediate attention, and CBN does its contribution from the head office. Like I can recall vividly, we did our contribution to IDP camps by giving food, blankets, and the rest. But when it comes to physical intervention, physical in the sense that we build structures, physical in the sense that we refurbish structures, physical in the sense that we acquire either software or hardware or IT equipments for government institutions. There's a policy governing that. Our interventions are in 3 sectors. We have the public sector intervention, we have the tertiary intervention, and we have the post-primary intervention. These are the 3. Although there is a clamor, there is a demand that we should include the health sector in view of our need to reverse, medical expenses. Because when you look at the component of medical, a lot of Nigerians travel abroad for medical treatment, which after an in-depth study, it was found out that it is because, not that because we don't have doctors here, but because some of the state-of-the-art equipments, we don't have them that can do the diagnosis, because diagnosis is the first and most important in any disease treatment. So, but what we have now on ground are these 3 I mentioned: post-primary, tertiary, and public sector. Public sector are government institutions that are very critical to the economy, that either because of budget constraints or other issues, those institutions, you need to bring them to a certain level so they can compete with any other international institution. I will give you an example. We have 2 projects at NIPS, and one has been finished and one is ongoing. So to come back to the Polytechnic case, which is a tertiary institution, now within the tertiary institution, we also have a policy. Every year we pick a project from each geopolitical zone. Each geopolitical zone. So every year you have 6 tertiary projects, scattered across the various geopolitical zones. And institutions compete, for those projects. Is there anybody from Umar Musa Yar'Adua University here? Huh? Anybody from Umar Musa Yar'Adua University? Huh? Oh, they are okay, that's true. If you go to Umar Musa Yar'Adua University, we are the ones who did the ICT center, and it's one of the best in the country. It's one of the best. Right now, at Umar Musa Yar'Adua University, even students do registration online. They pay their fees online. They do everything online, and they have an online facility where they can even download materials. They even write exams online. We built that ICT center for them, you know. So that is one of the interventions we do. So if we have not come to Polytechnic, what I will advise you is that Polytechnic should rev up their request, because I'm not sure we have seen any request from Kaduna Polytechnic, from Hassan Osman Katsina Polytechnic. I know the one we are about to do now is Kaduna Polytechnic. That I know. Kaduna Polytechnic, Nasarawa Polytechnic, IMT Enugu, Federal Polytechnic Bali, which other one? I've forgotten the sixth one. So you can see Kaduna Polytechnic has taken the one for the Northwest. So we cannot replicate it again. Because the problem is that you can't do it in one place. You can't do two. You know, everybody will complain. I think you understand. So what I will advise you to do is to write and state clearly your needs. And those needs must be, you have to show the clear relationship how those needs will meet the requirement of your polytechnic to uplift the quality of education. You know? So that is our policy, and that's how we do it. I hope you are satisfied. Yes, for the public institutions, it's the same thing. The same thing. We are doing, who is from Kano State? Okay, maybe they may not know, but if you go to Police Academy, Wudil, we are building the second best police academy training school in that campus. Second only to South Africa. In fact, we are copying it from South Africa, where police will be trained, you know, using virtual reality. They will learn to shoot, you know, on the screen. They will learn a lot of things online. As you are doing it, the screen is showing you what you are doing right, what you are not doing right. You know, in the whole of Africa, it's only South Africa that has that kind of training facility. And we are doing it, and it's almost finished. So central bank is involved in lots and lots of, like I said in the morning, activities that will uplift the economy or provide security. But it has to follow a certain business rules. It's not just somebody comes, I want this, you say, okay, let's go and do it. No. It has to follow that business rules. At the beginning, you check all the requests from the Northwest. I know Federal University Gusau, they have already sent in their request. So, Hassan Osman Katsina, if you're not careful, they will say that Gusau has already submitted their application. They submitted their application, very good one with all the designs, everything. They got maybe their in-house architects, they designed, they did costing for them, and they sent it down. So that's what happens. Okay, now on the small scale, the gentleman who mentioned the problems they are facing on. Fortunately, Mr. Nzelu is here, so I'll give him the mic. He is the one from Development Finance, so he should be able to respond clearly to your question.
Good morning, once again. On the issue of
your application, noted that you say you have trained 2,000 members. You have mobilized 2,000 members that opened accounts and did their BVN, right? Now, that is just one requirement. And now, when that is done, you submit the group request, right? You submitted the group request through MFI. Is that correct? Now, the MFI, all fund is released through an MFI. MFI, if it is microfinance bank, supposed to submit their own financial statements. That is part of the requirement, so that we know the health-wise of the financial institution you are passing through, whether it is MFI, whether it is MFB. These are the requirements. And another requirement is that in submitting it, they're supposed to also attach the list of beneficiaries with their BVN. Now, BVN is an issue because some do not submit their own BVN, they submit their relations BVN. So when you match it with what we have, you have variances. So BVN, and some of them, they miss one number or put the other number. So all these checks are what delays it. I'm not saying it's foreclosed. By the time our people finish processing it, they will sieve the ones that have problem, and you will be notified of those who will qualify and those who does not qualify. But are you from which state? Sokoto State. Our officer in Sokoto is here. So what will help you is that maybe within these sections, when I'm still around, you will meet him, or three of us will look at what issue you are presenting so that they will handle it the way it is. And if it is something I will take home to check the group name, I will help you do that, so that if there's any further assistance we can render to you, we'll do that directly from here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The second part of your question is that you are served with this invitation, and the letter should be clear that no sponsorship or no support. Well, it's neither here nor there. I say it's neither here nor there. If we didn't mention it, then it's not there. And you see, this is a customer forum. We want to discuss with our customers. Before, we used to do it on state-by-state basis. We'll go to your state, we'll discuss with you. We'll go to the next state and we'll discuss with them. But we found out that it's not serving our purpose very well. Because if you go to Sokoto State, before you go around the 37 states, maybe it is 4 or 5 years, by which time you know many things might have happened. So what we try to do now is to do it on a regional basis, so that we can compare notes. Are there similar things across the regions, or are there specific needs of certain regions? And it will interest you to know that one of the lessons we have learned coming here is that there is a very big demand for non-interest lending in the Northwest. We did hear about that when we went to Enugu. We did hear about that when we went to Ilorin. But here, especially yesterday and day before yesterday, most of the people who came said they want to key into our programs, but they would prefer to do it through non-interest lending program. It's a big lesson we are taking. So you can see, if we are going to go and tweak our programs, we will now have to take that into consideration to serve the customer base. And sometimes it is important, you know, for somebody to expend a little of his energy and resources, you know, to prove that that thing is important to him. Because anything you use your resource and do, you will take it very, very serious, and you will do it to the best of your ability. Central bank cannot invite people and start giving them money. One, there is a reputation risk. If we gather people here and give them money, I assure you, we started on Monday. By today, you will not even be able to come in here. Because news will go out, we are just giving money. That's what people will say. They'll just say that central bank has come, they are giving money. There was a program we attended in, is it Umar here, Hamisu, were you there? Or Oka, I think it was in Oka, on payment system, on this cashless. There's a program we attended. We are not giving people money. We asked the hotel to be serving people food. Even this one that we did in Enugu. Who are the people with us in Enugu? You know, some people went out and were telling others that they are there for free lunch and breakfast day. Believe me, before you know it, we had a crowd we couldn't control. And many of them are not customers of Central Bank. This is for our customers, ideally speaking. But we said, since we want feedback, we also want organized and even on the unorganized private sector, but those that are registered. Anybody you see us invite here is recognized by government, by the authorities. Because either you represent an institution or you are an association with a certificate of registration. We didn't just pick you on the street. So we beg you, sir, and you look very rich, richer even maybe than Central Bank. We beg you to expend a little resource when we invite you to our customer forum. We know the economy is a little bit hard, it's biting. But honestly, when you wait, it will be very difficult to pay people. And honestly, we don't want to start writing, if you don't come, there is no money for you. It will invite another thing. It will invite another thing. Just recently, Hajj Commission in Abuja, just before they went for this Hajj, they invited journalists to Abuja, you know, and when they invited them, I think they gave them 70,000. And what happened, because they have an account with us, they asked each of the journalists to send his account details. So they sent. They have an account with us in our Abuja branch. They batched them, and they said we should pay them. So when we paid them through NIPS, and one of the journalists saw an alert, he just went on his blog and said he just got an alert of 140,000 from Central Bank, and he doesn't know for what. Maybe Central Bank is trying to bribe him. Believe me sincerely, he never bothered to know, he never bothered to ask. And before you know it, there were lots, within 2 hours, there were 500 comments. You know, by the time we investigated, we found out that but he was even the one who gave the detail, and it was Hajj Commission. So when they called him, that's when he started apologizing, after the damage has been done. That's when he started saying, oh, you forgot to, is it that Hajj Commission program he attended, this is and that. You know. So what I'm trying to say is that if we invite our customers, if we invite you for a training program, yes, we can host you, can get a hotel for you to stay. Even then, we may not pay you money. As much as possible, Central Bank will not invite a third party and give him money, as much as possible, unless it becomes absolutely necessary. We can invite you and host you, get a hotel accommodation for you, and pay the hoteliers directly. Maybe as we mature in our customer forum, we'll continue, we could start thinking along that line. You know, because for now, like I said, we started this policy this year, but we'll take your observation into consideration and see how our management will react to it. Okay? Thank you. Then issue of lower denomination, yes, very true, and something is being done. In fact, the issue of lower denominations, even the higher denominations, they are very old and dirty in circulation, but very soon there will be a lot of changes. Branch controllers are aware, and they are working with either people like you or market associations and the rest to make sure that lower denominations reach everybody. We used to pay through banks, But maybe what is happening is that banks give it to preferred customers. They don't give it to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. That's one. Number two, most people make withdrawals through ATM. An ATM facility for lower denomination. 90% of people now don't go across the counter. You know, if you go across the counter, you have 10,000 to collect. You can tell the cashier the mix you want. But ATM, you don't tell ATM the mix. It will just bring out the money. So we have to think of a way, and we are going to use our branch controllers. Our branch controllers are going to have maybe a register of market women, associations, and all that. Then you agree with me is that it is their activity that has multiplier effect on what we do in the economy. If government spends money, that money is just like you throw a pebble inside water. What happens? Eh? What happens? Eh? You will see wave up to the banks. You throw stone. Eh? That action will not stop there. Isn't it? You will see waves like that going up to the banks of the water. That is where government is very, very important. Because we have an undeveloped private sector. Tax. They will simply jail you, whoever you are. This Boris Becker father, they almost jailed them. In fact, they wanted to jail Boris Becker himself. So he now said, I am not my business manager. My father is my business manager. So they arrested the father. This footballer, what is his name? Neymar. Is it Neymar they call him? He recently, I don't know whether they have finished his case on tax. So you are absolutely right. Government depends on forex revenue to earn money. All the state governments depend on forex revenue to earn money. Except that they did a study and found out that there are only 4 states that are viable in Nigeria that can stay on their own without federation account. Only 4. In fact, out of those 4, only 2 can be consistently viable for the next 5 years. You know, the others, once there is no federation allocation, they cannot run the government. And because of the ripple effect, everybody feels it. Because maybe you have gone and gotten something from a supplier and telling them that when they pay me, I will pay you. So what we should do is try to build our private sector. When we build our private sector, like Lagos has aggressively done, you find that there are many things we can do without waiting for the government. And one of the things that is helping Lagos is taxes. You have to pay tax in Lagos. You just have to pay tax in Lagos. Although it's very uncomfortable, but they have been able to structure the tax administration very well. Here in Katsina, if you say everybody should pay tax, the next thing that will happen is that people will start complaining. Just think for a moment, we are about 5 million in Katsina, so remove maybe 30% as children who are not up to the age of paying tax. So maybe you say 3 million. Imagine everybody pays 3,000 naira as tax every year. How much will the government earn? You know? So these are some of the things. And that is why the government depends on forex revenue. That is just the reason. But forex revenue is not the economy itself, but it is so strategic to the economy because all the tiers of government depend on it, and all the tiers of government are the drivers of the economy. If it is the private sector that drives the economy, nobody cares. Unfortunately, it is not. Unfortunately, it is not. So that is the best answer I can give you out of technicalities. Yeah, Hamisu, come and answer why a customer in Katsina wants to go to Abuja to... Okay, you want to say something? Why a customer in Katsina wants to go to Abuja to do his DOM account? Or do you have a DOM account, the IFAD gentleman? Is it about your DOM account? Or is it the TSA account? TSA account. Okay. He is going to give us a lecture on TSA, and you will see some of this relationship, but he will answer your question now.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. As at now, the services are centralized for foreign payment. The DOM account is centralized in Abuja. Also, SWIFT server and the office in charge of communication between head office and our correspondent banks is also centralized and resident in Abuja. So for now,
so you understand what he said? Eh? You can come to the branch. When you come to the branch, you package your documents, and the branch will forward it on your behalf. And then the department there will process it. If there are issues, they call the branch and let them know. Essentially what he's saying is that the settlement cannot be done by the branches because it involves international transfer. It's not a local transfer. You have to pay outside because the people you want to pay are outside, isn't it? So that is why the structure to do that payment is only available in Abuja. But it doesn't mean that anytime you have that, you have to go to Abuja. No. Your application through your branch. You know, government buys, like this fight against insecurity in the Northeast. You have been hearing that we bought planes, we bought this, we bought that. We use foreign currency. So a large chunk of the foreign currency too goes to defense spending and maintaining the structure of management. Sorry, I say management, government. You know, but we don't have the luxury the developed countries have. So what we try to do is to manage the float. We don't want to go back to administrative controls, especially during the military regime. We had administrative controls where government will come and say this is the price of the naira. Because what that brings is serious black market. You will have two economies running. You know, I wouldn't want to call it black market because I am black. You will have two economies running. I will not even call it parallel market. I will say white man's market. Let me also retaliate. So you used to have those economies, you know. So the best way is to close it. So you have the managed float. And now we have about 5 windows. Why we decided to go on 5 windows is because you have different interest groups with different expectations. And if you try to manage all of them at once, with the precarious position we are, everybody will be complaining. Nobody will be satisfied. So we came out with these windows and said, let's do price discovery. Let's discover what the people want to be the official price. That's what we mean by price discovery. Sometimes in the market, even if you go to, what is the name of this market, this tomato market as you go towards Kurfi? Ergamji. If you go to Ergamji, if you go, let me tell you, and try it. Go to Ergamji on a Saturday from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I tell you that nobody will tell you the price of a basket of tomatoes. Am I right? Because people will come, sell lower, some will come, sell higher. It's when the market is stabilizing. Some people will see that, look, tomatoes will not be plenty today. They will just jack up the price. That is what we call market discovery. Because market works on information. If today they can be able to say Nigeria is going to earn 80 billion before the end of the year, you will see the dollar crashing more and more. What made the dollar to fall from March to date is because we opened the NAFEX window, Nigeria Importers Exporters window. We said, okay, if you earn your dollar, or if you are a foreign investor, you want to come and invest in Nigeria, don't come and receive 305 that we are paying. Look for anybody in Nigeria who wants to buy dollar, negotiate with him and sell to him. As of today, between that March and now, almost $8 billion has come into the Nigerian economy. and it has helped stabilize the economy. On Tuesday, the BDCs were here, and one of their complaints is that the rate is not even good enough for them now, because banks want to push them out of the market. Where is the guy from Commercial Bank? He has left. Because banks are trying to push them out of the market. Banks are selling 1 naira, 2 naira lower than they are selling. So people now are going to the bank even for retail FX transactions. So that is how these things are being managed. It's not that because United States print dollar does not follow the principles of economic principles. No, it does. It's about supply and demand. That's just, even we, how do we get the dollar? It's when we sell crude. And that's when we earn it. And if the price of crude falls, we don't earn as much. And the reasons why price of crude falls are very many. You know, some of them may even be competition. That there are other alternatives to energy that people need. Some of them may be loss of market. United States will come and say, no, Nigeria is too far. I don't want to buy crude from Nigeria. That's all. You have lost that market. So there are so many things. All I'm saying is that dollar also reacts to economic fundamentals. That's what I'm saying. Even in the United States, if you follow Reuters, they will tell you that even the price of dollar vis-a-vis other currencies keep on changing. But what they do is that they don't want it to change abruptly. If you go and check the price of dollar against the euro or the price of dollar against the pound, you will see subtle changes depending on the fundamentals of economics. If they bring out the economic report of US and they find that consumer spending is dropping, then there will be loss of confidence in the dollar, and you see people selling dollar and buying maybe pounds. That's why we say there is a currency market, and those people deal in those kind of things, and they make millions of dollars just by selling one currency against the other. You know, so that is what we mean, that even the dollar follows economic principles. I'm not saying that the dollar is not important to the Nigerian economy. Of course it is. And let me ask you, why of all the currencies in the world, why is everybody keeping his money in dollars? Have you posed to ask yourself that question? Okay, say it. Let him say.
What I'm just saying, I just learned something from analysis, and I want to ask this simple question, sir. Do you honestly believe that the international monetary policy is designed to make some nations rich while some will remain poor? Because what you are saying, when you take Nigerian currency, for example, is only for local use. To tell you that, but we have crude oil. In other words, we have wealth, but they have currency, because their currency is recognized worldwide. The only thing that can be recognized worldwide from Nigeria is probably the. I don't know whether I'm right. American dollar is being printed. If you look at the back of the dollar, I think they wrote, this dollar note is a legal tender. And economics, I know there is what they call intrinsic value in every currency. So from that, I want to believe that that dollar note on its own, even though it is printed out of trash, but it is still being used to buy our own crude oil. I hope you get the point I'm trying to make. I'm sorry if, thank you very much.
Yes, the dollar note has no intrinsic value. None. It doesn't have any, it's just a paper. It is dollar because the United States say it's a dollar. Let me give you an example. There are two types of dollars floating with the BTCs now. If you take the former production, and you want to exchange it, They will not give you the same exchange with the new one. Why? It's the same thing as dollar. You see, when you say a currency has intrinsic value, you are talking about that time when we were trading in gold coins. It is accepted as a medium of exchange, and you can melt it to make other things. So in itself, it has value. What we have now is what we call fiat money. Fiat. And fiat means decision. Is fiat money is a decision of government. I have printed this money and I have called it money, and my citizens should take it as money. And we say, yes, sir. When Buhari changed money in 1984, he didn't advise me, he didn't advise you. But what happened? We all went with the old one and picked the new one. It's just a decision. Tomorrow, if government says they want to change money, it's just a decision. But they'll look at the fundamentals of the economy. But what you are saying is very correct. Nobody will come and develop your economy for you. Before America, the British pound was the dominant currency in the world. After the Second World War, because of the impact of the Second World War, Britain lost its position, lost its predominance in the world economy, and America emerged. And when America emerged, there was a decision to redesign the international financial system altogether. And the decision to do that international financial system, to redesign it, means that there must be a currency of last resort. You cannot get away from that. Because the IMF itself, the World Bank itself, the Bank for International Settlement itself must run through a certain structure. America was the only dominant country in the world after that World War. America came and said, I'm going to back those settlements with gold in order to protect the currencies of the world when it comes to settlement. So America backed it with gold. But in 1973, America felt so strong that Nixon came out and said, we are quitting the gold standard. The American currency will stand on its own, and it will be the reserve currency of the world, and America is ready to manage all the other economies of the world using the dollar as a reserve currency. The argument now is that China could be the next reserve currency of the world, because China is growing faster than America. And within the next 20-30 years, it could dominate the world economy and demand a change in the international financial system. Just 2 years ago, the World Bank and the IMF were forced to accept renminbi as a reserve currency. Because the only reserve currency you have in the world was US and Euro. But now they have accepted renminbi. So what I'm trying to say is that it's an organized system. It's an organized system. And Nigeria, the whole of Africa, in world finance and trade, Africa contributes 3%. 3%. You can bear me witness. HSBC, we went to HSBC together. And they told us that every day they settle 350 billion pounds. Every day. Just one bank, and it's not the biggest bank in the world. Just one international bank. So tell me, do you think those banks will just allow you to come and be somebody? You have to stop. Did China become somebody because America want them to do? No. It's because they worked hard and they came out of those their problems. So that is just the issue. It's not that you are going to remain poor forever. No, it's your decision as a Nigerian, or it's our decision as Nigerians. We have had African countries, we have had Asian countries that have come out of it. Look at Malaysia, look at Dubai. Look at Dubai, even Dubai. When they discovered oil in Dubai, and they told him that it's going to last for 35 years, the current ruler then, it was his father who was on the throne. They sat down and did a strategy. Say, what are we going to do? What do we have? Say, let's use what we have to consolidate our tiny emirate. Today, everybody wants to go to Dubai. The taxes that they collect from goods they sell and hotels that me and you stay when you go to Dubai, we Nigerians, is about 252 billion every year. No, not 252 billion, sorry. That is their GDP. That is their GDP, 252. But what they collect is about 32 billion every year. Now, Dubai is not bigger than Katsina Emirate Council. So can you imagine an economy like that with a GDP of 252? And then Nigeria with an economy of 480. Which means they are half of our economy, but they are not even 1/1000 of our size. It's just how you plan yourself, how you strategize. And that's what we are saying as Nigerians. You remember our slide. Consume locally. Produce locally, consume locally. You know? So these are some of the issues. We can talk and talk and talk about them, but let's just take our questions and go for prayers, because it's already 1:15. So let's just take 3 questions so we can go and pray and eat.
There is one question left. On somebody asked on bank charges, excessive bank charges. The gentleman that asked, though you were not specific on bank charges, but lending, there are majorly 2. You have the interest rate. You have the, that one is negotiable. So you have the right to negotiate with the bank. If they charge you 20%, you have the right to sit with them, and 10% is higher. 20%. You can negotiate depending on your turnover in your account and you are standing in the community. So many reasons. You understand? Then the lending fees itself is regulated. The cash is, and you can negotiate to bring it lower. Also depending on your standing in the business, your turnover, and your recognition by the bank. So I don't know, the one you are saying is excessive.
Good afternoon, sir.
Mr. Chairman, sir, we're ready to take the questions.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. My name is Elijah Fashawe from IFAD, Katsina. I'm glad you spoke about producing locally and consuming locally. As a federal, what effort is the government making to enforce? Because almost all of us seated here in this hall are guilty of not consuming locally made goods in this country. So what effort is the government making? Because this is what has made Japan to be great today. Same thing with China. They produce made in China goods and consume themselves. They even export from their excess. United States of America They don't produce all they consume. But they go to China, they go to Japan, go to India, go to Malaysia, and tell them, this is what we want. This is the standard. This is the quality. Produce it for us, and we pay you. So in Nigeria, economists, everybody, professors here and there, they've been talking that we rely on importation. That is why we have problem in this country. And it's true. What is the government doing about this? Of recent, Mr. President just came back from abroad. If you have all the stolen money brought back to build standardized hospitals with laboratories where they do investigations, nobody will travel abroad. Our money will remain here. If we use, in Kano, there's leather institutions. If we all wear made in Kano shoes and slippers, our money will remain with us. If you check the feet of all of you on the high table, all your shoes are either made in US or made in Japan. So please, thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Murtala Isu from Al-Qalam University as chairman Al-Qalam University Cooperative Society. Go to the organizer of this particular program. We are very highly appreciated for this organizing such kind of programs. First of all, as the chairman has mentioned that we Al-Qalam University have enjoyed intervention with the CBN because currently our ICT, which we call it one in time, is the most structure that we are proud of it in Al-Qalam University and was constructed by CBN. But currently, as private university in the north, we are highly need much assistance. Looking at the way how we want to manage the university, because we rely solely on the student registration, which I think a university cannot run properly. It only depends on the student registration. Finally, my question also as chairman, because I learned a lot from this intervention, this program also, please, I want to, Mr. Chairman, to advise us on this cash reserve, because as Al-Qalam University Cooperative, just we are starting, almost 4 months we started, and I'm chairman, and what is the wisdom behind this cash reserve? Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Baba from Katsina Specialist Clinic, Katsina. I'm the secretary, hospital secretary. My question, God, is we standby clinic, one of the standby clinic rendering services to CBN staffs. Is policy or scheme that we can access loan from this in order to have more money to provide better services. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we have 3 questions. The gentleman from IFAD asked a very interesting question. What is government doing to enforce Nigerians to patronize made in Nigeria goods? You see, there are 2 issues there. We are not a communist country where we can say people must do this or must do that. We have agreed and accepted to be a democratic country. But the problem we have in accepting to be a democratic country is the issue of nationalism. How do we become nationalistic such that we are ready to stand up for this country we call Nigeria? How do we solve the national question? Up till now, we have not solved the national question. No matter how an Indian is an Indian. And you never criticize India before him. No matter what. Between themselves, they can argue that this is Sikh, this is Hindi, this is this, this is this.
but they have pride in that India. The same thing with the Chinese. The same thing with many other nations, because they have solved the national question. We are still trying to solve the national question. Even now we are still struggling with referendum, restructuring, this one, that one, that one. So in our psyche as Nigerians, are we proud to be Nigerians? It's both ways. You can say the government is guilty, the citizens are guilty. I'm not blaming the citizens only. In America, if you dare touch an American from abroad, America has been known to use their warships to go and rescue a single American. One single American. You know? And that's why they are respected all over the world. So part of the answer to your question is that we can only think big if we accept we are one nation with one dream, which we are struggling to do. That's number one. Number two, you can never create that class you are talking about unless you create a middle class. Because economics is about consumption. Pure and simple. It's about consumption, it's about choices. It is when you consume what I produce that I make income. And when the other person consumes what you produce, that you make income. And as long as you have poverty, you can never have a developed economy. So if you want to develop an economy, fight poverty. All economies that are doing great, you see that they have come out of the poverty trap. So what do we do to build a middle class that is consumption oriented, to build a middle class that has escaped from poverty? Are we escaping from poverty, or are more people going into the poverty below the line? Which one are we doing? Huh? So you see, we need to have programs. We need to have policies that emphasize on wealth creation, that emphasize on creating a middle class. We are even lucky in Nigeria and Africa that we have this communist way of doing things. Communist in the sense that once you are rich enough, all your extended family will rely on you. Only God knows this year, only God knows how many of my relations will stop talking to me for the next 2 months. Because I'm not going to buy them ram. And they will stop talking to me until they get over it. It's a fact of life. It's a fact of life. So the more we try to bring everybody above the poverty cycle. Just this morning we were discussing the minimum wage. I think it's in director's in BC's office. We are saying the minimum wage, when you really look at it, is about $60. It's not even up to $100. Because if you look at the black market rate, it's 36,000. If you look at the official rate, it's 30,500. And the minimum wage is just 20,000.
Why is the official minimum wage? If you look at it, how many from local government to the federal level, if not federal level, how many states or local governments are paying the 18,000 naira? So the 18,000 naira minimum wage is official minimum wage. It should be qualified, but not the real official, not the real minimum wage. I believe the real minimum wage, if you look at it, there are people who are taking 4,000. There are people with SE taking as low as 8,000 naira as their minimum wage.
If you use the time value of money, and somebody is supposed to collect salary and you have not paid him until after 6 months, so that money, is it the same money that you are supposed to have paid him 6 months ago? You know, so we have to escape. We have to escape from that poverty trap. And again, I personally believe part of the problem we have or we had that did not make us to develop is because we became intoxicated with the revenue from oil that we got, and we subsidized other people's economies. Do you know that the price of rice in the world market crashed by 50% because Nigeria stopped buying rice? Do you know? Go and check Food and Agricultural Organization webpage. Is there. Because Nigeria stopped buying rice, the price crashed in the international market. So what I'm trying to say is that we subsidized other people and killed our local industry. Because it is cheaper, far, far cheaper to just sit down and import rather than to work hard and produce. Because you just carry your portfolio, you get money, you can do anything with it. So unless we do some of those things, like now the subsidy on forex, and that's one of the challenges we have in central bank. What is the appropriate price of the dollar that will guarantee economic development, that will also guarantee the quality and quantity of consumption by people? If you put it at 500 naira, many people will be out of the bracket, but some people will benefit. Because in every economic decision in the world, there are gainers, there are losers. There is none where there are no gainers, there are no losers. Because the whole thing is a market. And in a market, there are gainers, there are losers. Somebody will sell below or somebody will buy below. So, but the question is, aggregately, you are not looking at one person, two persons. Aggregately, how do you take decisions that will push the economy forward? Within the economy, there will be some adjustments. Maybe you are doing one particular business, it's not paying. You just change it. People have changed businesses, isn't it? Because the market for it is no longer there. You know, when we were children, we knew how people will come with their groundnuts, their cotton, their whatever. You know, they will weigh it, you know, and then they will pay you. We know the groundnut pyramids in Kano. We know the hides and skins, like somebody mentioned, in Kano. You know, but all these things are no longer there because they could not compete. Because the competition was not there. Because people can easily go and buy. And that's part of the problem we have. That commerce economy, it has to be tuned to look inwards. And that will help our economy very, very well. Then you are asking about cash reserve. Yes, cash out. Then you will begin to see what I'm talking about. You know? But you have problem. Because bankers became greedy. Because bankers were not looking at the risks. Sometimes they overlend. And sometimes they lend in a very risky manner. And therefore, they will lose other people's money. I think you understand me. And when they lose other people's money, the whole financial system will have a problem. And government is so much interested in the financial system because it is the one that is used to manage the economy. Therefore, government cannot allow banks to behave the way they like. No. In this country, in this Nigeria, as late as 2009, how many banks changed name? Why is International Bank for West Africa? Why is Habib Bank? Why is Bank of the North? Afri Bank, New Nigerian Bank, Agbomabe Bank. You know, it is because the government set up rules and regulations to make sure that people continue to enjoy the confidence of banks. And that is where the issue of cash reserve requirement comes in. If a bank has 1,000 customers, and these 1,000 customers have 1 million naira, how much does that bank have? It has 1 billion. in deposits, isn't it? Now, if out of experience, only 10% come in day out to take their money to withdraw, now that bank will have 900 million naira idle, isn't it? And then in economics we say it is from savings that you make investment. Anywhere you see investment comes from savings. Anywhere you see investment. See my 100 level economist colleague here, he's shaking his head. That's what they taught us. You know, S equals to I, savings equals to investment. So that investment, that savings, government allows banks to lend it to entrepreneurs, people who have business ventures, but they will not allow them to lend it recklessly. They have to take into account those who may come to take their money. They have to take into account the fact that these banks must maintain a certain level of liquidity by having monies and near money. That's why if you take a typical bank balance sheet and look at it on the asset side, what will you see? The first thing you will see there is cash in hand. Isn't it? Go and check. The university people, go and check. When you are teaching your students, teach them the different ways they do balance sheets. The first thing you see there is cash in hand. The money at call or short notice. That's near money. Banks do their balance sheet based on their liquidity. So this cash reserve is a statutory requirement. It's a requirement by the law that they must maintain a certain level of cash liquidity so that when their bona fide customers come, they have money to give them. Otherwise, there will be a run on a particular bank, and if there's a run on a particular bank, it can turn into a run on the system, and it can dislocate government. So that is why you have the cash reserve requirement. And even we, individuals and businesses, we do cash reserve requirement. If you are a student of accounting, they will teach you cash management, cash budget. I'm sure some of us do cash budget in our organizations. It's the same thing. You sit down and say, okay, which cash do I think will come in? What is going to be my expenses in a given month? We used to do it monthly. When I first started work, that was one of my jobs in Kano. I used to do monthly cash budget for my organization, Standard Construction. You people, you know Standard Construction now. I used to do monthly cash budget. And every month, the financial controller will sit down with me. We will look at the past performance, whether I hit the jackpot correctly or I did not. You know, so you need cash requirement because you have to oil your business, even as an individual. You have to do cash flow analysis. So the same thing when you look at it from the point of view of the economy. The economy too has to do cash analysis so that they know the cash needs of the banking system as a whole. So that's the idea. Loan from CBN for medical equipment. Unfortunately, not yet, especially for retail, for individual clinics. No. Like I said, our intervention is to government institutions. We can't intervene in the private sector. What we do in the private sector is we give loans, and our loans are structured. What we want to do, like I explained, is we want to intervene in the medical sector by having medical diagnostic centers across the country. And these diagnostic centers will be equipped with the latest technology. In fact, we have gone far on that. The only problem is it's still not yet, they want to run it on PPP. Because if you have it, first of all, you need the expert. Secondly, you need to locate it near teaching hospitals. In fact, Central Bank has even identified 6 teaching hospitals. In Northwest, it's University of Sokoto. In Northeast is Bauchi State University, Abi? No, not ATBU. There is one hospital, is it a state hospital, that has been turned into medical? No, it's not Gombe, it's Bauchi, eh? Yes, Bauchi specialist, thank you, Bauchi specialist. You know, in South, I think it's University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital. They want to locate it near a teaching hospital because that's where you will get all the support. You will get the doctors, you will get the nurses, you will get everything there. You know, but single giving loans to businesses to buy medical equipment. Somebody asked the same question in Enugu. You know, and his reason was that medical equipment don't have second-hand value. Abi, is it not true? Why is the person who asked the question? He has gone out. Yes, somebody in Enugu asked the same question. He said medical equipment don't have second-hand value, and these medical equipments are expensive, and they can last 20 years. So they can maybe Mr. Nzelu, maybe in your development finance something, you can make use of the PFIs and see whether you can introduce it as a product. You know, maybe, I don't know, but I'm not promising anything. Yes.
Why the person was also wanting us to intervene in that area, that they can use intervention funds to buy and equip hospitals, is because of medical tourism. We are spending so much money, Nigerians traveling out of the country, our forests. You know, in India, they ask Nigerians, don't you have hospitals? And it's so shameful because we have the manpower all over the world. One of my juniors in second school is one of the best heart surgeons in Manchester. And I just ran into him May. I was going to the US. And I know how he treated me. He has only one child. He said, okay, I have only one child. He used to call me school prefect. So he said, he's sought after all over the world. A Nigerian, 53-year-old. But we have manpower, but they don't have equipment to work, even in this country. And our education system has collapsed. We need to do something. Technical schools and everything. We're importing petrol, kerosene, and diesel. We are not a very serious country. God has blessed us so much, but we are disappointed God.
Thank you. Other members of the high table want to make contribution before we go for Salah and lunch. I don't know, there was this story where somebody was diagnosed in Nigeria. They said that he swallowed, yes, a cockroach. You heard it, that there's a cockroach in his lungs. So the man was very alarmed. He sold his car, he sold his house, and he went to India so they will operate on him because he didn't trust Nigerian doctors to operate on him and remove the cockroach. When he went there, the Indian doctors started laughing. They said there is no cockroach in your system. It is the X-ray machine that they used. There was a cockroach there. So the machine filmed with the cockroach. And the guy came back very annoyed that he wanted to take the hospital to, because he sold everything, virtually everything he had. So I don't know whether it is true or it is not true, but it signifies, you know, how serious this situation is. Some of my colleagues want to make.
I want to start on the existing protocol. Mine is an appeal to the CBN and to take care of it. I don't know what is the CBN doing currently, though I know a lot of people have said a lot of things concerning the lending interest. I want CBN to do something about it because it hit me so badly. And second, my second appeal goes to the CBN concerning the Federal Mortgage Bank. I don't know whether CBN is aware of what is happening there. There is a lot of structures built in Katsina, particularly. Let me cite an example. There is phase 1, phase 2 of the Federal Mortgage Bank housing estate. I think not more than 5% were given out because people are complaining of the exorbitant price and the interest rate being charged. I collected one house at the rate of 5.150 and I'm paying 47,000 naira monthly. when you calculated it, it will amount it will be amounting to about 11 million or so. So I feel the interest rate is too much on the mortgage financing. So I want the CBN to intervene, please. Thank you.
Okay, I think so that you can put them together. You see, each time I'm coming into my union ESCO for the second time, but each time we come in, you see commercial banks coming with facilities, and they will tell you this is the interest rate. By the time you go into it, it becomes different. And then currently we have cooperative societies in the school. And I want this house to see how they can advise us in annexing our cooperative so that we can get a lower interest rate facility. Because some of it is that we don't have the knowledge to get a lower rate for our colleagues. And that is affecting the various institutions. Then secondly, the issue of the Nigeria economy that we keep talking of. I believe everything we are doing is built on falsehood. Starting from when states were created, during Babangida's regime, I did a mini project at my NC level. If you take your mind back, there are indices that were agreed as why you can be given a state. Most of the qualities that the states claim to have that time, they are not there. They say they are self-sustaining and not whatnot. And then by building on falsehood, that is why we are where we are. And then secondly, we agree that only few percentage of people are paying tax. I want to believe the average workers are the ones paying the legitimate tax. Look at political office, this thing, even political party vehicles. Most of assemblymen, governors, their children, their vehicles are not even paying the license and this thing. If you check political party vehicles, you see them without plate numbers. Even the ones they give them for campaign, after that, somebody is giving, they don't pay. So you see that everything is leaking. And then we keep saying this. How do we take care of this? If Lagos state government can do it, how do we keep living on falsehood? And we think to get a result. It's not possible. The governors will tell you they can't pay 18,000 as if they are paying from their pockets. And then you see, do they pay tax? Somebody who is a politician collecting maybe pension. In how many places where those that have slaved for the government are not collecting the meager pension they are? So everything is on falsehood. We should stop this lipstick address. And we have to go into realities. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Umar Ibrahim from Kano. It's not a question to my own, but it's a suggestion. As it says earlier, manage your test. That is, be the change you want to see, patronize made in Nigeria. Apart from the diversification of the economy through agriculture, I have to see that CBN has to follow the ways. It has to be that farmers